Hi everyone, welcome to our Q&A session today. So I'm going to start by asking Ivy, in your opinion, what do you think is the most difficult part in learning a language?
First of all, thank you, Maya, for your question. So, what is the most difficult part of learning a new language? So, for most people, learning their own very first foreign language, which is not your mother's tongue, I think the very beginning is the hardest process throughout the whole learning process because we don't know where to start. Do we start with new vocabs? Do we start with learning a lot of key phrases? Do we start with grammar rules? And this question usually overwhelms the learner, and the journey usually ends before it can even started. It doesn't need to be this way. However, we can make some kind of plan, and this plan can make the whole learning process enjoyable. There are a lot of resources out there, such as um, language exchange, local workshops, and private teachers, and many more. There are so many ways to learn new language out there. So once we find a solid foundation for ourselves, the learning process can be much more easier. So I hope that I'm answering your question. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Echa. What do you think people can do to improve their English?
Thank you, Maya, for the question. So, what can people do to improve English? As for me, I would suggest that the most important thing to do to improve English is by having conversations in English. This will make them be able to speak English interactively and more confidently. This way also would make them to practice their own speaking skills. For example, they can talk to themselves in front of the mirror or record themselves. So by this way, they can hear the mistakes that they did not aware of. So now I want to ask you back. Apart from English, what would be another useful language for you to learn and why?
That's a very interesting question. So I think the language that I want to learn, other than English, maybe it will definitely be Korean for me because I love K entertainment, which, as we know, Koreans nowadays are known for their entertainment. So I love to watch anything K related, and then it is a bit of like in my side because to watch it I have to wait for subtitles to come out first before I can watch the movie or K dramas that I want. So it irritates me a bit. So I think it is best. I think I want to learn Korean the most so that I can watch movies and dramas without subtitles and can totally understand it.
Next, I would like to ask Maya a question. Maya, if you have $1 million, what would you buy?
$1 million, you say? That's a hefty amount of money. I think that if I were to have $1 million, firstly, I would definitely spend it on my parents because they're the one that had raised me since I'm a kid, and also they have already sacrificed a lot of things for me. So I think it is best for me to just pay it up to them for that, and also maybe I will want to buy them a good and big house for them to live in. Also, secondly, I will definitely use the money to make a change in the world. Maybe I can make donations into several orphanage and help those who are in need. Maybe help the homeless because it's something that I always wanted to do, but I can never have the opportunity to do so because I do not have enough money. Also, I want to open up a very big shelter for the abandoned cats and dogs, abandoned pets, so that I can go and pick up all the cats and they can live there for free, and I have enough money to cover up their expenses and in terms of their food and stuff because I love animals. So I think it is a very my it's actually my dream to do that. So yeah, that's all from me.
Okay, so now I have a question for Aisha. What do you think? Which profession deserve the highest salary, and why did you say that?
Thank you, Ivy, for the good question. So, in my opinion, I would choose doctor to be the highest salary job. Why? This is because most of people know that doctors need to sacrifice most of their time at the hospital taking care of the patients. Yeah, I know that there are also other jobs that might need to require them to spend their time, but um, as for the doctors, as far as I know, they will have an on call which require them to be at the hospital when they are called, whenever and wherever they are. For example, maybe they are on holiday with their family, or might be at late of the midnight where most of people would be sleeping at the time. So secondly, I will choose doctor as I know that a journey to become a doctor is not easy like we think and might be tougher from other jobs. This is because they need to spend their 5 years in learning and remembering a lot of medical things, and 2 years after that to practice it in the government hospital before they will be officially called a doctor. So I think they deserve to get the highest salary job suitable with their sacrifices and their efforts all this while. So Ivy, it's my turn to ask you back. I'm gonna ask you a question where I think is the most suitable with you, which is, can you define us what beauty is?
So, how did I define beauty? So, well, I definitely believe that everyone is beautiful in their own way. I know my answer is going to agitate some of the people out there, probably because they have a clear definition of beauty inside their mind, and anything that doesn't fit that norm is considered not beautiful. I think we all grow up in a societies with a definition of beauty, and when we don't consider to fit that norm, we get agitated when we heard someone say everyone is beautiful in their own way. If I was asked to define beauty, I wouldn't even attempt it, as it depends on one's culture and the society's idea of beauty. For example, in Malaysia, we need to have a fair skin to be considered beautiful. For instance, as well, the South Korea, a country that has the most highest beauty standard. The plastic surgeries that have been done there is out of this world. So what I would say is love yourself no matter how you are. There is always something good in all of us, and we need to be confident about ourselves, and we we didn't have to look at general norms and present the truest image of ourselves. To me, beauty isn't always about physical. It could be having a good personality and nature as well. So I hope we can widen our perspective and the definition of beauty itself. I hope I'm answering your questions. Thank you.
Okay, I think that marked the end of our Q&A session today. Thank you everyone for listening and for your participation. Thank you.